On behalf of SME Chamber of India, Federation of Indian SME Associations, jointly with India-US SME Business Council, special support with the AWS and LIC, Bhumi World, SME Export Promotion Council, Tata Tele Business Services, and Federation of Indian SME Association members, organizations. It's my immense pleasure to welcome all the top speakers, one from USA, my dear friend Joseph LeBas, who is the chairman of India-US SME Business Council. We have Mr. Gracia from the Amazon, and he is going to give a lot of information, particularly for the benefit of SME sector. We have Mr. Sivakumar from the Exim Bank of India, which is heading as a general manager business development of Exim Bank of India, and which is a very important speaker today to showcase and support the SMEs to how to explore the new business opportunity and emerging business opportunity. And we have Mr. K.T. Patel, Vice Chairman, Vice President of Federation of Indian SME Association from Ahmedabad. Welcome, Mr. Patel. And we have many participants, delegates from the various fields, various parts of the India, particularly for manufacturing industry, particularly for the exporters, and most of the companies looking for exploring the business opportunity. Mr. Mihir Shah will be joining very shortly. Friends, currently every company, every businessman in India started business full-fledged because of the corona impact is slowly going down. And I'm sure that every person is working from home earlier now and doing from business from home, but now we have started working from office, full-fledged work going on. All the migrant laborers come back to our business, and we have started business activity very well. But now, how we will support our Indian manufacturers and SME, those are SMEs in a particular looking for a promotion of the development activities. So therefore, this is a very important event that SME Manufacturers Exporter Summit, and where myself as a president of SME Chamber of India and president of Federation of Indian SME Association is going to give a glance that how we can support each others to explore the business opportunity. I welcome Shri Ateesh Singh ji, the Joint Secretary of Ministry of MSME. Ateesh Kumar ji, welcome.
Namaskar, thank you.
Namaskar. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing a platform. And this is very interesting because Government of India, particularly Minister of MSME, is putting a lot of efforts for the empowering Indian SME organizations. They are giving guidance, support, platform to improve their capabilities, improve the capacities. And I'm sure that today's, the presence of Shri Ateesh Kumar ji, his views will be definitely on the technology, business growth, export promotion, how the manufacturing industry can utilize the, their capacity, because we know, Mr. Patel also aware, because most of the Indian SMEs are having 100% capacity of the manufacturing system, but they are utilizing hardly 45 to 50%. Why? Because they don't have a proper business opportunity, or not getting a leads, not getting a business. Therefore, how we can support the manufacturers to explore new business opportunity, how to identify the new export business opportunity in market. Exim Bank of India, we have a very good collaboration with them for the last many years. Exim Bank India will be happy to share or support the Indian SMEs to identify the new market. Similarly, Joseph LeBas, who is a chairman of India SME Business Council, our focus is more on the US market now. Along with that, Joint Secretary Saab, we have a focus more on the how SMEs or how the companies those have set up business in China, how we can bring them to India, or how SMEs from the USA can come to India to set up businesses, set up manufacturing unit in Mumbai or other parts of India where they can get a proper opportunity. So this is a platform where we are going to discuss today how the SME manufacturers and exporters will get a proper support, idea, and knowledge. Another very interesting point I would like to suggest that and share with all of you. Recently, we had a meeting with the uh, governor of RBI last week on the monetary policy. Day before yesterday, I had a meeting with the deputy governor of RBI at the meeting of the standing committee on the credit flow towards MSME sector. So observation for that meeting is, the MSMEs still are not getting a proper support for banking sector for fueling their finance. So how the banks can reach MSME sector, that is the most important. See, technology part, Amazon is there, other players are also there, and also that along with the technology, we are exploring the new market. So therefore, today's three-level discussion focuses on how we can do competitiveness amongst our SMEs by utilizing the platform, utilizing the technology, utilizing the sources created by the ministry, and utilization of the schemes, incentives for the improvement of the capabilities of the manufacturing system, identifying the new technology, patented technology, and affordable technology. That is the most important aim of our organization, and particularly supporting for this purpose. So, nevertheless, I will not take much time, but I will share my thoughts during the course of our further discussion. But I would like to invite Mr. Ateesh Kumar Singh, Joint Secretary, who is taking care of improving the capabilities and capacity of the MSME sector, and we would like to hear from him that made in India products by SMEs. What is the strategic initiatives of the government for branding and promotion at the global market, using by advanced technology, using by the sources created by the MSME industry? Atish Kumarji, floor is open for you, and welcome and thank you for joining with us.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be part of this August House. And
सर आपकी आवाज थोड़ी कम आ रही है सर प्लीज
okay, so okay, what about now? Can you hear me now?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. So let me just first begin by saying, that this the ministry is आवाज में problem है. Sound problem. Yeah. So I wanted to address the house by start by saying that let us look at what's happening on the MSME space today. So while all of us are aware that we have several challenges across the spectrum, and if you just break it down, challenges in the form of the generic challenges which the industry and the sector faces, and there are certain COVID-induced challenges which have come forth, and there are newer challenges as we go along the ride. And there is one more, challenge which are those hidden and unknown, or some kind of intangible challenges which are there, which probably are weakest link in the in the entire SME ecosystem and the policy framework to tackle all these challenges. So I want to let the house understand what we think those challenges are. And so if you look at what's happening on the generic front, everybody knows that there are problems with respect to access to technology, there are problems with respect to access to finance, access to markets, there are problems in inclusion and formalization, skill and labor, infrastructure. And each sector has got its own set of issues and problems on those fronts. And if you look at the COVID, what COVID has done to us, it's resulted in a lot of business losses. Everybody knows that there have been situations of low orders or no orders at all. In some places there have been we've encountered and everybody has seen what happened to the migrant laborers and the workers who were working in the MSME sector. Then there came along issues in logistics, linked to logistics, because there was a lot of COVID protocol to be followed. There were restrictions and movements across states and cities. Along with that came along the problem of raw material availability. Then while all this was playing out, we already were running through NBFC crisis. Liquidity became another pain point for the sector. Inventory management went for a toss. The entire supply chain got massively disrupted. In some places it's so bad that it's struggling to come back on its feet. And other than that, one more thing which happened is that there was also a lot of component shortage, which resulted in other difficulties for the MSME sector and for the large corporate and for industry overall. And all this resulted, into higher costs, and that further compounded the problem. So, while all this was playing out, the consumer confidence also kind of took a sudden trajectory. So these are problems which came out of the COVID. They were not there earlier. It's just something which just happened so suddenly and so fast, and it turned the whole world upside down for the MSME sector. And as a result of the not just the COVID, but otherwise also there are some newer challenges which keep coming. And while the COVID kind of pushed them to the wall, but they had always been there. So with that being that, the issues of survival, issues of sustainability, issues of competitiveness, issues of resilience, they came out on the front. And these to deal with these kind of words, the sector and the policy makers and large corporate, the entire industry, started moving into different zones and different practices. It led to newer management practices and processes. People started exploring new markets, new processes to develop their products. Some of them started diversifying. Quality consciousness, kind of saw a great, massive leap. A lot of people have now realized that how important quality is. That is certainly the view from the ministry. And things like energy efficiency, which were pretty low in the priority, they also came out on the front. Another thing which we realized and understood from on the basis of discussion, exploring what's happening in the local markets, that people in the MSME sector, realized the need to identify and address information failures, something which was not there earlier. Information failure was a very key, understanding which a lot of people have come to realize. Resource optimization is another, thing which a lot of people have started looking into because of not just but continuous churning process. Another recent phenomena is the government order on banning closure of single-use plastic. Single-use plastic is going to finally go away, and the government is going to come out with a very heavy hand on that. And a lot of works are in the progress. And the MSME sector works very, very. The single-use plastic is very deep into the MSME space. That is a challenge which has to be addressed. The government is very, very clear that this is something which has to be done in the right earnest and very, very strongly and largely. And hygiene and health is another area where wasn't really in the focus or in the picture frame of the MSME unit. Suddenly, it is very, very strongly visible over there. Everybody realizes that hygiene is so important to get your business to go. And last, the last set of challenges which I classified them into 4 different. Now, one, the hidden ones. So this is probably the missing link in the entire vessel MSME problems. So what we are talking about are things like capacity building. Now, capacity building is, it to a lot of people it just appears to be some kind of a word, wherein you need to get people who have some kind of skill set and they should be having some training. While that is the common understanding, but the truth of the matter is that it is the linchpin into the entire gamut of things which the MSME sector does. So here we are not just talking about training of the different agencies and MSMEs, or training of trainers, or the service providers, or core implementers, and so on and so forth, or getting them to increase their skill set. It is also about things like incubation and mentoring. It is about talent development. It is about things like partnership academia, partnership with the private sector and the international sector on knowledge sharing. It is about handholding. It is about outreach. It is about specialist consultancy. It is about data analytics. So there are a whole lot of things which come into this word of capacity. So other than what's happening on the tangibles front, there is a deep realization and understanding today that on the policy front, we need to get into zone of evidence-based policy formulation. Something which is there, but it is a lot more needs to be done over. And so it is the strong resolve of the government and this ministry in particular to get into the evidence-based policy formulation very, very deep, strongly. Also, we are looking at improving and strengthening our monitoring and evaluation systems. We are looking to bring in greater synergy with the states, state governments, with the private sector, with the international organizations. So, what happened is that, am I not audible now?
You are audible. Yes, you are audible.
So we are trying to bring in synergy over here so that we get out of duplication. We are attempting to make the policy much more flexible. We are hoping to get into a larger outreach program, because one of the problems is that while the ministry and the industries ministry and state governments have hundreds of schemes and programs going for the SME sector, but their outreach is very, very minimal, and that is something which we need to make greater and make it much more visible. So that is something which we are attempting to do on a very, very large scale. Ease of doing business is another area where a lot of it gets talked about a lot. There are a lot of webinars, discussions, seminars, meetings, so on and so forth. Something happens, but a lot of it doesn't really happen. So that is now a very, very it's right on the table of all the policymakers, and a lot of people are working on several number of things to actually get conversion on the ground on this front. Another problem we are encountering, which is now on the focus of the ministry, while we have several programs and policies for the immediate run and the short run and the middle run, but there is there is the long-term perspective, which is kind of there but not really there. So that is another area where the government is developing a long-term perspective on all the policies, on all the programs, and all the different systems and infrastructure the ministry and the government creates. Another neglected area is the medium sector, where another set of we are working with the industry and different departments and states to have specific engagement and programs and policy for the medium sector. Then services sector is growing very, very fast. A lot of inclusivity is required to be done over there. A lot of work is going on right now. It is now going to be on the center of the focus with respect to different programs of the government. We are also working very keenly on the exit and the solvency for the MSME sector. Exports is a very key important area where the Department of Commerce and the Ministry of MSME and all state governments are working to come out with newer formulations on the products and program fronts. there are several programs which a lot of ministries, ministries where MSMEs exist. For example, there is the food processing ministry or the textile ministry, several others. So all of us have now got down and start sitting together. Now a cohesive kind of an export policy and products and programs are coming out specifically for each of these sectors. Then we are also working with the Ministry of Labour and Employment to labor front. So many laws, so many labor laws, not just in the government of India, state, but also in different states there are different things. So here a lot of work is going on where we are trying to bring in a lot of synergy on the labor laws. We are trying to simplify the laws. We are trying to reduce them. We are trying to make them easier to implement. And then last but not the least, we are going big scale on the advocacy efforts. So like I said, we are, the government is in the business of market making. The government is in the business of, developing a culture of innovation. So information dissemination is going to be one of the big, ticket ideas of the future for the ministry's roadmap. So while I've said a ton of things, but I want to, there are a number of issues on the MSME front. Like I said, we have issues on technology and we have issues on finance and so on and so forth. So while we can talk about all of them, but that will take up a lot of time. So I was hoping that I will restrict myself to what's happening on the technology side. So quickly, I would like to inform the House and everybody that we are very, very firmly of the view that technology is going to be the driver of the reset and refurbishment which are required in the MSME space after. Though the COVID is not over, but yes, that is something which we are very looking at in a very bullish kind of a manner. So what we are doing over here, so I will cite just two examples. There are a number of things going on, but let us just limit to what's happening on the technology front from the government side. So one big ticket reform and program of the government is going to be something called the MSME Champion Scheme. So while you may be knowing that there was something which was announced in 2018, which was called the Z scheme, that is the zero effect and zero defect scheme, and it had 5 other components in terms of digital programs, in terms of incubation, in terms of designing and intellectual property facilitation, and there was also the manufacturing program. Now all these have been clubbed together into one big program, which is now called the MSME Champions Scheme. It has been approved by the expenditure department last week only, and now all the operational guidelines are being prepared and will be rolled out. So yeah. So what is happening over here is the idea over here is to improve and develop the competitiveness of the MSME industry, such a manner that they become resilient. They can deal with situations of panic and problems like the pandemic, which has happened over the last 2 years. It becomes a unit which is able to survive and fight any kind of crisis which comes along. So the focus of this scheme is to make the MSME units stronger to survive and fight it. We are not limiting it to do some kind of a firefighting and then keep going, and then again something happens, and then we are trying to develop a continuous long-term perspective, like I said, into this program. So here we are getting into things like some of the specifics I can share with you. So initially the Z scheme had a problem that there were 5 different quality certifications. You kind of reduce them to 3. There were 50 parameters to be achieved. Now those have been reduced to 20. Then we've also the parameters have been aligned to the certification items which are there in the EU certification or CE certification or other international certifications. So once you attain the gold standard on the Z certification front, you are ready to get a CE certification, as it were, because the parameters are 80% of the same type. So now we are also looking to develop a partnership both bilaterally, multilaterally with different trading units across the world, so that this Z certification, which will be called Z plus certification, becomes acceptable in those countries. Also, so another problem was that these different schemes suffered from number of lesser incentives and benefits which were wrapped around these schemes. So, for example, if you are a Z certified unit, what would you get if you are, other than the fact that your product will become better and so on. But what would the MSME unit get to there were very limited number of schemes or help which was coming forth. So now what we have done is that if you are a Z certified unit, you are going to get 50% off on the parcel movement uh, of your goods on the trains. You are going to get 60 to 70% discount on the freight charges on movement of your on by road of your goods by road. You are going to get 90% concession subsidy on electricity. You are going to get free water supply. You are going to get concessions on the taxation front, depending on the state you are in. You are going to also get concessions on the processing fees from the banking sector. We have also wrapped around the refinance scheme onto all of these MSME champions sub schemes, so that you actually get interest rate. You actually get borrow money at at a very cheap cost. Because the refinance condition says that the loan should not be more than the base rate of the bank. And we've also spoken to a lot of credit, all the credit information companies and credit rating agencies to incorporate the Z certification and lean manufacturing certification into their risk assessment processes, so that when the credit score is taken up by the lending unit, it is factored into the cost of borrowing. So also one more. There are a number of able to fit in everything over here. Just one more thing, is on the digital front. So while there is a digital program where the government is coming to 16 different toolkits for the MSME units to take up at very cheap rates, that they can get into the digital space. So along with these toolkits, which will help you in accounting and in getting you a website, getting you to join the e-commerce platforms. Also, incidentally, on the e-commerce front, there is something called the ONDC, which is commerce, which has been planned and rolled out very soon. A lot of work has already happened on that front. So what I wanted to tell you was that this on the digital front, this we are also looking to help people to get into industry 4.0. So all this sounds very grand and big talk, but I my thought on this, and that is what we have tried to put into this scheme. That while there are a lot of MSME units who want to get into this space, who want to improve the processes and methods of production and manufacturing. A small M2M engagement, like providing a sensor or a number of sensors into the assembly line. It helps them incredibly, in the sense that your monitoring mechanism becomes better. Your the forecasting of the next product part of the assembly line, that kind of gets into an improving spiral, as it were. So we are hoping to get into these kind of small engagements on the industry 4.0 front, and to be able to encourage and motivate the MSME units to do that, the government will provide a subsidy through this program. So that is on the MSME champion front, and on the digitization front, also one more thing was that we are working with the Central Raksha University to develop a package for cyber resilience. So while we realize that there is the digital world is changing very fast, and a lot of innovation is happening on a daily basis, a lot of problems are also coming up. There is a lot of cyber crime. You must have read the latest police report, crime report. It tells you what's happening over there, and how frightening it is. We've seen what's happening, on the ransomware front, with the pipeline in the US. So there are problems which are coming every day over there, and it is very. So we are one of the problems we are thinking is going to be in terms of rushed digitization. A lot of people are just moving into the space of digitization quickly, just as if it was some kind of a rat race to get there. So we have taken cognizance of this matter. We are looking to develop a cyber resilience program so that the MSME unit not only is prepared before a cyber situation arises to him, he is prepared to deal so that his losses are minimized, his continuity remains. Okay, he is prepared to what is coming for, and then also while that crisis is going on, what he is going to do, and when the crisis is kind of resolved, what remains to be done. So it is going to it is going to help you take that journey and come out best possible situation. Uh, so with that, I would like to close my discussion which I'm having with you. There are a number of other things which I would like to tell you, but for the sake of time, I think
Sure.
thank you very
Sure.
much.
Thank you, Ateesh Kumarji. It's very enlightening speech, and rather, it's a very informative speech for a MSME sector. There are many questions are coming up, but we will take a one, views from the Amazon Internet Services Private Limited, because they are not only just giving you the product online, but they have a lot of technological development platform. How the Mr. BK Chaurasia is heading the solution architecture for the SMB, we would like to hear from him that what kind of new aspects, the new advantages, and how we can utilize your platform where we can enhance the capabilities of the MSME sector, because Amazon is giving a basket of services. So I will not take much time, but I would like to invite Mr. BK Chaurasia, head of solutions architects of the SMB division, Amazon Internet Services Private Limited, to share his thoughts. Unless your growth potential with the Amazon Web Services. Here is your platform, Mr. Chaurasia. You can start.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chandrakant. So, like you said, I would like to dive deep into how SMEs can actually unleash their growth potential with the services that we offer. As you rightly mentioned in the beginning of this session, right? It is really important for SMEs to digitize themselves, use the power of technologies. And then Ateesh also mentioned that there are some challenges that SMEs face as they adopt the technology, right? So we are going to talk about a couple of things here in this session, which is, we have some pieces of technologies, some services in our ecosystem. So we can help identifying the right technology solutions for SMEs for them to become successful. And we'll also talk about some of the easier way for SMEs to take the very first step to benefit from the technology, right? So Let's first identify about why the need of identifying the right technologies, right? Because it's really important for SMEs business to go successful. So I would like to start with a question here, right? Before I explore the different technology areas that can help growing the SME business, let's answer this question first. What are the key business needs that currently SMEs have, right? And there are 4 or 5 key themes that we have across these key business needs. So I would like our participant to spend about quick 15-20 seconds and think about it. Maybe put some details in the chat window here, so that I can capture some as to what they see as their key business needs. So feel free to type your answers into the chat window. Okay, so we got a few responses in here, but I'll move on. So thank you for sharing your business needs. But let me share with you first. We have done some research on this particular topic. We have gathered the responses from a large number of SMEs in India. So let me share with you that there are these 4 critical themes that currently the SMEs have in India today about how technology, what technology you can adopt to meet these business needs. One is growing the business, right? So starting with the business expansion, entering the new channels, reaching out to the new customers. To grow your business, you need sometimes the new e-commerce platform, some kind of automation software to list your products. You need to find some kind of digital payment solution, right? The digital payments are very prominent. You need to find some kind of capital credit solution, basic accounting software solutions, right? So these kind of solution are really necessary as you expand your business, right? And then other important factor is simplifying the business, right? It's what I mean by simplifying is capable of managing more and more customers as you grow, right? You have some business processes that are automated to manage the customers at scale, right? As you continue to grow, right? So again, to do this, you need some kind of basic accounting software, retail automation software, ability to manage your order on different e-commerce channels, making better customer relationships. So you need some kind of customer relationship management solution. Also, to manage your employees, like as your business grows, you grow in terms of size also, number of employees. So you manage your employees efficiently. So some kind of software to manage that, right? Some kind of HR software to manage that, right? And so after you achieve the goals for your grow and simplify, these 2 stages, right? These 2 major things, then it's about optimizing your business as you transform it, right? And then also then you try to gain some competitive edge over your competitors, right? So bottom line is, the reason I ask you this question is that I guess all of us understand here as SME that it's really important for us to select the right technologies to achieve the successful business, right? I'll get you an example. We work with a company called Dukandwar in India. So CEO of Dukandwar, it's an electronic e-commerce business, right? And the CEO of this company was really struggling to manage the customers and employees as his business was growing continuously. And then he understood that to manage these customers, to manage these employees really efficiently, he would need some kind of CRM software and HR solution to meet every individual needs, right? So he bought something called Freshworks. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Freshwork. It's an Indian company who got listed in NASDAQ this week. So they bought, so the CEO from Dukandar, they bought Freshwork and Great HR. These are the products from Amazon Digital Suite. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Digital Suite. I'll also dive deep into what Digital Suite is, right? After adopting these 2 technology solutions from Amazon Digital Suite, he was able to save approximately 70% of their business cost, right? Now, with that being said, it's also very crucial to note that SMBs can be at different points in their business journey, right? And may not adopt technology in the sequential order that I'm showing you, right? So it's really important for them to continuously look into their business, survey their business needs, and adopt the right technology offering, right? So whether it's inventory management or HR solution or digital payment solution, whatever it is, right? Look at your business, what actually you need, and stay ahead of the curve, right? So again, to summarize the point here, technology can be really transformative force for SMEs, right? To manage the volume, reach out the customer, grow business, right? It's really important, especially in these new normal days, right? After COVID, to overcome the new challenges of business continuity. SMEs have people working from home these days, so that's a new model that's been established these days, like accessing the capital credit, increasing the cash flow, reaching out to more and more customers, and of course, have their own play to help India becoming Atmanirbhar, as we are all set to. So let me ask you now the second question. It's very clear that technology is an important thing to adopt for SMEs, but I think a lot of perception is in the SME ecosystem is that there are challenges. Now, I want to ask another question to the audience here. Which of the following challenges, especially you as a business, have faced? And you can actually choose multiple of them, right? So don't just stick to one answer. Go ahead and put it in the chat. What are the challenges you faced? So I have 4 examples in there. You can type something else also, but you can just type A, B, C, D, or you can type all of them that you have been facing. Okay. I hope you were able to. Feel free to keep typing as I speak. Right. These are some of the challenges. These are the prominent challenges as you face while adopting the technology. So let's dive deep into some of those, right? So we did similar research earlier with about 3,000-4,000 SMBs to answer this question, and based upon that study that we did, these are the 4 key elements that we found, key challenges that we found that SMEs are facing today when it comes to adopting the technology. The number one is accessibility. Like 84% of the responders came back with the accessibility. So looks like people are struggling with the ease of the search, right? So finding out the right technology solutions in the right channels, right? So it's really important. It's a big challenge that every SME has to encounter these days, like finding out the right tools for the job. The second one is, once you find it out, the affordability, right? SMEs really want to find these solutions at a low cost with some high value features and benefits, right? So that's another one. 82% have responded with this challenge. The third one is simplicity. This is really important, right? The selection of these tools, solution, the ability to purchase those tools and ability to implement this in your business environment, and then ability to easily use that solution is what I mean by simplicity in this case scenario. And then finally, the support, right? So when they are having some issues using this tool as they have implemented, sometimes SMEs they need help, right? They don't have the luxury of having technical resources and the money. They need handholding sometimes when it comes to onboarding these technology solutions for them, right? So as I said, right, I really believe as in SMB or SME is actually should stand for simple, right? And technology is still not yet simple. It still needs some kind of handholding from the providers, right? So let's move on. So in the recent years, right, Mr. Chandrakant also mentioned, right, we have been seeing many key stakeholders like government bodies, SMB associations like SME Chambers of India, right, and industries like manufacturing, technology companies like ourselves, like AWS. So all of them are stepping up to support the digitization, right? For businesses to grow and thrive, right? So you can see on your screen some of these articles. I think we spoke about it at a high level. These articles are highlighting the need for digitization in the manufacturing industry, in the export industry, right? These articles actually tells you how technology can enable these manufacturers and exporters, like many of you here on these sessions, right? And how you can contribute to the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative by our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. Right. So now let's come to the point how AWS can help with these needs, right? How we can help you becoming a digital SMB. So let's talk about Amazon Digital Suites. I just mentioned about it in the beginning of the talk, right? So let's talk a little bit more about it, right? It's a suite. It's an integrated set of easy to use software products, right? And that actually address a lot of the SME needs as you progress through your digitization journey, right? So in the beginning, I talked about this four stage digitization process, right? The grow, simplify, optimize, and differentiate. So if you look at the digital suite, it covers the entire journey, the entire spectrum of these 4 stages. We at Amazon have partnered with the very well established Indian software providers who actually behind the scene in terms of infrastructure, they use AWS to offer the technology solutions. And they have created these technology solutions which are tailored specifically for SMBs, right? So if you look at all these 4 stages, in the first stage, grow, right? We have this e-commerce and e-procurement solution from a automation software called Vinculum, right? It's a very basic accounting software. Then another one is Vyapar, right? It helps you managing your accounts for your business. Vinculum helps you doing the inventory procurement and stuff, right? And there are other solutions like digital payment solutions from Razorpay, other capital credit solutions, right? So these are all the easy to use solution in the growth phase. Now, moving on to the next step, which is simplify, right? We are talking about the basic. So we are talking about the basic accounting software, Vyapar, like if you want to generate invoicing for the services that you are providing to your end consumers. The e-commerce and retail automation software from Vinculum again, right? The CRM solution, we talked about the Freshwork, the customer support, chat and IT service management software solution, payroll and attendance solution, right? Employee engagement solution covered by Great HR. So that helps you simplifying a lot of your business operations, right? And now following these 2 phases, then we have the office suite, right? To optimize the inventory management and website building software like Zoho. It's very popular within SMBs in India, right? And then once you are reached to these various stages, right? Then you go ahead and optimize the business. So we can work directly with AWS, work with our native services like compute, storage, networking, a lot of our managed services as well. We can help you migrating and modernizing your existing solutions, your websites, your analytics solution, your data processing, your AI ML needs. I'm talking about artificial intelligence and machine learning needs, your IoT needs to differentiate in the business, right? So, so on top of these solution that I just mentioned about, right? Under these 5 stages, these solutions are already GST compliance. They help you in GST filing, e-invoicing, with your taxes, right? So these are kind of relevant to all of your business life cycle, right? Now it is really important to simplify and optimize the operation, right? You want to reduce the cost, you want to increase your profit, right? So let us focus on stage number 2 to 4 here. So that's optimize and differentiate, right? So we will let me tell you a little bit more about how you can simplify the technology adoption process for these specific 2 digital suite solution with the lightweight AWS native services. So so stick to that. I'll talk a little bit more about these solutions that's relevant to your business. So let me move on. Let's talk about our native services. Many of you are familiar with the Sambhav program. It's our featured yearly program that we do dedicated to the SMBs. And we actually cater to the lightweight use cases that actually works really well for small to medium SMB business. So when I say lightweight use cases, I'll dive deep into this one. But if you look at this, right, a couple of barriers to cloud native service adoptions. Like we spoke about having technical complexity. Many SMBs are not up to speed with understanding the cloud, right? They feel like it's going to take a lot of education, ramp up for their resources to understand it. They might not have the right level of technology expertise to implement the technology solutions, right? That's why it's become really important for taking on the solution from Digital Suite, which is more like plug and play. There's literally nothing much to learn about in terms of technology. Don't need to really worry about underlying technology at all. You just have to think about utilizing them, right? And then some SMEs are also worried about adoption of these technologies, and then how about disrupting their existing business? So, yeah, what will happen to their business continuity? So again, these solutions are complemented to your existing business processes, right? They are not like a complete replacement of it. You can actually integrate these solutions directly with your existing businesses, right? So when I was talking about these lightweight solutions, right? I'm talking about things like creating a storage backup for your existing data, right? Creating a disaster recovery setup for your existing business, migrating your existing solutions, applications on AWS, right? We got some programs from AWS to do that, right? We provide SMEs with lots of different credits, about 1 month or 3 month users credit to AWS. You don't need to really pay for it during these initial months. We got a free tier as well at AWS. We also do help in subsidized implementation of your solutions, like putting together prototype, running a POC on AWS, also helping with our partner ecosystem and ProServe, right, to provide you the end-to-end solution on AWS, right? And then of course we have our training programs too. So we help certifying your resources if it needs to be, and then also providing talent from the market when it comes to implementing those, right? So moving on to some of these lightweight use cases, right? How you can actually achieve your business goals with these, right? So I mentioned about the storage and backup. That's an easy one. On that you can start on AWS. You can also, we have lots of different bundles with our partners that helps you having your website on AWS. So a lot of SMEs are actually now thinking having a online presence with a website. So we can help you hosting that on AWS. We can help you reducing the capex for your infrastructure, right? So you can migrate and free up the resources. With cloud, it's all pay as you go, right? When you really need the resources, you can spin them up. When you don't need them, you can ramp them down. You really don't pay for it. Unlike when you are hosting it on-prem environment, you just have to buy those machines and servers, and whether you use it or not, you have to do the right level of forecasting whether I'm going to use that infrastructure or not. You still pay for it because you have to buy that, right? That's not the case with the cloud. And then, of course, these days it's really important to be competitive, right? Do the right level of forecasting. Look at your existing time series data and see, make sense of this data. Not just that data, but also augmenting this with other data like geopolitical data, weather data, and so many other information that you receive, right? And the other thing is, of course, providing the very unique customer experience to your customer, right? They would like to, you would have seen, right? When you're browsing, your customer want to see things, even the ads relevant to their needs, not just like some random ads that's happening. So you want to spend some time on improving that customer experience. Now, for small manufacturers and exporters, right, you can try out Zoho inventory solution to manage the inventory. So manufacturers, like many of you here on the session, they spend bulk of the time managing the inflow of the flow of inventory, the orders, the sales that's happening across different channels and customers, right? So Zoho inventory it could be a good tool for that, right? The second solution that will highly for the inventory management, this tool, Zoho Inventory, has a cutting edge features like real-time inventory tracking, reports, multi-channel cells that enables you to sell and manage your stocks on multiple offline and online channels, right? Order management, fulfillment tools. You can streamline your operations using those tools. It's kind of saves you a lot of time once you streamline those, right? So all of these are accessible and integrated on a centralized platform through either a mobile app or a web app. So you can do inventory and orders on the go, right? Wherever you are. I have a few customer testimonials in here, but in the interest of time, I'll just move forward. I will share some of these slides. I had a couple of videos as well as part of this session. But what we'll do is rather than playing those videos in here, we'll just share these links with you so you can take a look at those, right? So I also want to talk about, like I said, I want to talk about phase 3 and phase 4 mostly. So I want to talk about the Great HR as part of Digital Suite also, right? So it's a human resource solution. This allows you to manage end-to-end HR processes for managing your employees, right? Your employee databases, leaves, attendance, yeah, the automatic disbursement of salaries, right? All through just one platform. It's really important for manufacturers, right? Especially those who have more than 20 employees, because with this solution, you can spend less time, fewer times and effort managing your employees. I can also save cost on hiring, right? So it's a really important tool for manufacturers who are like more than 20 strong, right? So again, I have a few customer testimonials in here from Bloom Solar and Brickwood. So let's move on. I'm going to skip the video here again in the interest of time. So I shared about these 4 key challenges, right? That you may face when adopting the technology. And again, like I said, accessibility is the digital suite in Amazon. It you can access it easily from the how do you access it, right? It's simple as like buying something on Amazon. You go on Amazon.in marketplace. You can do it on either a computer or a mobile phone, and then you can just go buy these solutions directly from there. The other one is affordability. Now, these solutions actually does not cost a lot. It's as low as 20 rupees. And then these are offered at Amazon.in for up to like 75% discount with exclusive benefits, right? And we are also offering these 2 bundles as I just spoke about, right? These software bundles with even more discounts, right? With an exclusive promo code, which I'll share with you later, or somebody from my team will share with you later. So again, in terms of affordability, right, we are putting these products with a very low entry and exit barrier, right? So you don't need any long-term commitments, right? So there's no subscription like monthly or annual, right? We give the SMBs more flexibility to adopt these technologies, right? They go try it out. It's literally free of cost, as low as 20 rupees to try it out, right? And these are ready to go. Just purchase it. Purchase it on Amazon, just like any other product that you buy on Amazon.in, and then you can start utilizing it right away. And then obviously the support, right? Finally part, right? The support, which is really important, right? So these products that you buy from Digital Suite, that comes with priority onboarding and dedicated support for the SMEs like yourself, so that the experience that you have is kind of seamless for this, right? So here, let me go on my next screen. If you want to grab these barcodes, so because we are offering both of these products in the Digital Suite for free, you can go for a 14-day trial, both for Zoho Inventory as well as the Great HR solution, right? We'll also share these codes at the end of the session too, right? So those who are interested in getting a free digital optimization review, right? We can also do a optimization review, right? Once you are onboarded, right? We are also offering about 10K worth AWS native services. It's on a first come first serve basis, and we are kind of limiting it to 21st signups, right? So grab those QR codes, and we'll definitely help you enable your business identifying right set of solutions for your business needs, right? So these optimizations, right, that we are going to provide, it's going to be by personalized, very certified AWS experience and cloud experts that you can grab, right? So I definitely recommend that you take benefit of it. Okay, so now since we have covered the importance of digitization, we have also extended exclusive solutions with a very little or almost or zero cost, right, with those codes. So I would highly encourage you to take the first steps to benefit from the technology, right? As I mentioned, right, in SMB or SME, it's actually stands for simplicity, simplify. We'll continue to provide dedicated support to guide you on your technology adoption journey. Right after this session, don't forget, don't actually hesitate to reach out, right? We'll share our email address, digitalsuit@amazon.com, or you can reach out to the SMB Chambers of India, and they can pass on the questions to us, right? And after you redeem these softwares, right, either us or our technology partners like Great HR, Joho, will reach out to you either via email or phone, and you can start using the software to grow your business, right? With that, I think I would just project the email address. I don't know if you have time for questions and answers. I'm happy to take some if there are any. Else, feel free to reach out to us at digitalsuit@amazon.com or reach out to SME Chamber of Commerce, and we'll work with them to answer your questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Chaurasa sir. It's very interesting and very important because our main objective of the organization of SME Chamber of India and SME Technology Development Council, providing the affordable, patented, and useful technology, advanced technology to MSME sector. Mostly SME sector, those are into manufacturing industry. Since Ateesh Kumar ji has also mentioned about particularly the role of the ministry, where they want to provide us handholding to SME sector. I have two questions, particularly received from the members also, that how we can support the SMEs to identify the patented technology from different parts of the world. Number one. Number two, most of the platforms created and with the associate partners or the strategic partners created, it's affordable now. Okay. Earlier days, we have to set up our own platform, then you have to go for a cloud. But now Amazon and every company has already given a platform. So what is your message that, particularly after the, seeing your presentation, what is your message will be to MSME sector that, identifying the advanced technology? Such or
Yeah, sure. So let me take the first question first, Mr. Chandrakant. How do you identify the right technologies that you can use to grow your business? Like I said, there are on your journey, right? If you look at remember the journey that I talk about for SMB, there are 4 phases that I primarily divided into: the grow phase, the simplify phase, the optimize phase, and the differentiate phase. Depending upon where you currently stand on this journey, you may want to identify the right technology products for your business. And we can help you identify that products. A lot of them. So I took some examples from our digital suite. There are 4 or 5 examples that I took that actually caters to different solution. Inventory management, HR software, right? Employee related solutions, or taking the digital payments, for example, right? So depending upon where you are in your digitization journey, you are probably seeking a different technology solution, right? And although I took only 4 or 5 examples from our digital suite, if you look at it, it's actually it's much broader. You will see many solutions in there. So one way is to look at that and then start reaching out to us for every single solution in the digital suite. You can start reaching out to AWS. You can also reach out to the partners who is offering that solution on the digital suite, and we'll always be happy to help you out with that solution. We can also help you guide And then let's say if you are in the differentiate phase, you can reach out to AWS. Hey, I have this huge amount of data and I'm not sure how to monetize it, right? This is really useful. So we can actually help you put together a solution like putting a data lake together, putting an AI ML or analytics solution on top of it, and help you identify how you utilize that huge amount of data. I just gave one example. The other example, hey, I want to leverage the benefit of machine learning. I have this ton of data. If you can help me creating a model that can help me optimize my inventory or the sales process or the recommendation process for my customer, we are happy to partner with you and help you creating those models together. So these are just some of the examples that I took, but feel free to reach out to us for any specific needs that you have in terms of technology.
Thank you very much. Ateesh Singh ji, the point is, three questions we have received just now that is there any system in Ministry of MSME where the companies from the abroad, companies from the overseas market shown interest for contract manufacturing or joint venture? Is there any such data is available on the ministry where they can approach, they can submit their profile, they can submit their requirements?
Okay, right. So there are three different ways you can get around that problem. One of the facilities which the ministry has developed is something called the Champions Portal. Champions Portal is as it is commonly understood, it appears to be some kind of a redressal mechanism. So let me at the outset clarify that it is presently not just a redressal platform. It is a platform which will provide a resolution and end-to-end solution to the problems which have been which the MSME units encounter. So one is and it is also a place where you can submit your ideas and you can submit your very specific requirements, like in this case which you are talking about, Mr. Salunkhe. So it not only registers your problem or idea. It helps you take you forward on this particular journey which you've chosen to undertake. All things which you need to get for the purposes of going through the journey, it will handhold you and help you get those documentation, those approvals, or there are maybe some other problems which you think are coming in the way. It will handhold you to get there. That is one way to do this. The second is the ministry runs a specialized export cell, wherein all issues with respect to exports and exportability, products and processes, and incentives and different things which are happening on the MSME export side are available with that cell. We can approach that cell. We can handhold the people who are interested into getting into specific engagements with the foreign party, or if you are even scoping and scouting, like which it appears to me in this case is the requirement. So that is also something which we can do. Third is something which is in the works. There is something called an MSMEmart.com, which is presently a matchmaking portal on the website of the ministry, and it is operated by the NSIC. But the MSMEmart.com is soon going to be converted into not just transactional portal, but will also help you get connectivity and integration with foreign buyers and suppliers. So it will be a B2B market or a B2C market or a B2G arrangement, which will be integrated with not just the GEMS platform, but several other e-commerce players which are on the local arena and who are similarly aligned in different countries. So we are working with different countries bilaterally and through a multilateral arrangement to provide this platform to the MSME units who are looking to sell their products not just locally or regionally or across the country, but also help you get into different countries where there are buyers for the products of the MSMEs. And likewise, So that is an arrangement which is in the works, and it is going to be rolled out. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. It's very interesting and very useful question because champion portal for that purpose only. So therefore, MSME should take the advantage. Now, friends, since the LIC has supported this webinar, and LIC always, putting a lot of efforts to empower the MSME sector, which is, looking for more ideas and development. So I suggest Mr. Gandhi to show the one small video.
Guys, कल मेरी नई बाइक आ रही है.
Great. तब तो I will come with Rohan every day.
इंश्योरेंस है.
तुझे क्या लगता है? इंश्योरेंस, पीयूसी सब कुछ है.
I was talking about life insurance for Sia.
Jokes apart, guys, but आज मजा कल सजा नहीं होनी चाहिए.
Seriously, life insurance तो जरूरी है.
LIC का न्यू जीवन आनंद देता है डबल फायदा. मैच्योरिटी पे मिले फुल पेमेंट और लाइफ कवर चले जिंदगी भर.
ए हेलो, इंश्योरेंस है क्या?
पूजा जॉब छोड़ा फिर भी सो कूल.
ब्रो, नए चैलेंजेस नए मौके लाते हैं.
अच्छा.
सीरियसली राहुल, मेरा पूरा घर नाउ इट्स एन ऑनलाइन रिटेल स्टोर. देख.
वाओ, लेकिन पैसे?
कुछ साल पहले दिवाली बोनस को इन्वेस्ट किया था.
और अब तो है LIC का यूलिप प्लान निवेश प्लस. एक बार इन्वेस्ट करो, इंश्योरेंस से सुरक्षा का लाभ और मार्केट की बढ़त का फायदा दोनों पाओ.
वन सेक राहुल.
मैडम, यू आर डबल कूल.
My journey of insurance and investments began at the same time when I invested in LIC SEEP. In this fast-moving world, SEEP can balance your funds with security and growth. SEEP will take care of the ups and downs of the market and will give you fruitful results so that you enjoy the ride. And when SEEP is with you, you can soar high.
LIC's unit-linked insurance plan SEEP offers savings and protection so that you can soar high in your life. LIC, हर पल आपके साथ.
Okay, so जीवन का आनंद लेना है तो LIC लीजिए. वाह, very good. We are aware that Honorable Prime Minister of India is in USA, and he has a macro vision and macro initiatives, and I think he is meeting today the 5 to 6 top leaders from the various sectors: wireless technology, manufacturing, renewable energy, then software company, energy system and arms and manufacturer, atomics, investment management company like Blackstone. And now I would like to present the person who is speaking from the Florida and who is heading India US SM Business Council, and who is going to speak about SME sector. So here is Mr. Joseph. Now floor is open for you.
Good morning from Florida. The sun is now up. I am in West Palm Beach. I'm minister, unfortunately, but I am in West Palm Beach, which is famous for being where our former president now lives, among other things. I will be somewhat brief to get us back on track, but I was very much struck by the comments earlier from Mr. From the deputy secretary there, and that in the message from government, especially around the champions team, the champions portal. I think the question there right before my presentation was very good timing. We're going to talk about the India-US SME Business Council and our charter here, but I want to bring everyone a message of hope and opportunity. As we all are in our businesses, and sometimes as an SME myself, we sometimes get confronted by the challenges in our businesses, but I would encourage us all to look at the opportunities that we have in front of us, and bring this message across from the USA in what US SMEs are confronted with. We were fortunate also to have a lot of government assistance last year during COVID, but it was only the ones that were quick to move. So I will take you through my presentation, and I encourage connectivity with the chamber there, and also with myself and our team here in the US. But first off, you see me on the screen, but you'll have to see my picture again here. I would like to thank Mr. Salunkhe for his confidence. We've had a long friendship, and when this opportunity was presented, I was honored and leapt at the chance to step into this role. There's a lot of services there. You'll see. We'll talk about the ones that we can immediately affect positive change for India SMEs and US SMEs. But indulge me to tell you just a few non-aggrandizing statements about myself here. Basically, I've spent my life building businesses, as all of you on this line have. I've built them both in the U.S. but all over the world as well. My passion and for India goes back over 2 decades now. My first time in Bangalore was right around Y2K, and built many software companies, many relationships and tie-ups and great relationships have existed since then. So like I said, when Chandrakant came to me and said, we have this opportunity, it was a pretty easy decision. In thinking about building bridges across oceans, the cultures of India and US go together quite well. And as we talk here over the next few minutes, I think SMEs are looking and evaluating their current partners, and I can definitely speak for US SMEs, and evaluating their trading partners along a number of different dimensions, and saying, we need, this, what has happened the last 2 years has given us pause, and to really be competitive and affect dramatic change. Is there a reason to do business with trading partners that come from China any longer? And is there an opportunity to go back and do business with people that are going to offer better quality, better price, and are more like-minded and better fit culturally? I've had the great fortune to build I believe world-class companies, and thankfully a lot of people agreed with that. We built 4 software companies that found great homes with IBM, HP, NASDAQ, and the New York Stock Exchange. Like I said, we sit in the seat of an SME, but I always say this to people that say, I want to become an entrepreneur. Or if you mentor younger folks like I do, and they say, hey, I want to build a company, or I want to be an entrepreneur, I always tell them it's a really hard job, and you really have to love it every day, every hour to go about and do that. And I think that probably resonates with everyone. If you really didn't feel it in every core of your being, there's other places you can go work. So, if you think about doing business with U.S. companies, doing business in the U.S., moving your whole family to the U.S., setting a subsidiary up in the U.S., know that you have a like-minded ally and friend on this side of the ocean to help and be a partner with you, myself and my team, because we've been doing it all of our lives as well. As the Joint Secretary said, Deputy Secretary said, these are all things that we probably know, but even in my other role of running a company, we sometimes know them, but we have to press ourselves to acknowledge them every day, right? And I always find myself kind of pressing ourselves. We need to be faster. If there's a government incentive, we have to grab it, right? Or somebody else will grab it, right? And we have a global marketplace, but it's also politicized, and it's competitive, and it's as challenging as any time. And this pandemic has segregated, really, if anything, the global economy as anything, and it's challenged the fluidity of supply chains and capital sources. And I heard Chandrakant in the open talking about banking and capital, and I saw it in your comments. And, we also do a lot and talk a lot with folks that want to immigrate. And, borders are closing and freedom of movement is becoming more challenging, not, so the successful SMEs will enact scalable cross-border strategies. And I don't mean to be too harsh here, but I feel that sometimes in our business here, the forward-seeking will survive and flourish, and the ones that, don't look up will languish and wither, and we don't want any of that in either parties, either our folks that we do business here or anyone, any of the SMEs to languish or wither. What I saw when I got acquainted with the membership of the chamber there in India is a cooperative there that is fronted by a ministry and the government there that has provided a lot of value over time. And there is an opportunity here for us to almost expose this large membership base to US SMEs and cultivate this mapping, if you will, that can exchange investment and services and joint ventures and mergers and acquisitions, and as I said a few moments ago, our countries really have a long history of innovation and trust and profit, right? That really eclipses, I would say, marriages of convenience, if you will, or marriages of price or anything. And I really love the comment earlier. Quality is really important now, and it is. And I'll get into that a little bit more. I've also seen in my experience over the last few years that, people start to say, hey, look, I want to get some funding, or I want to get some, I want to get a green card, or I want to get, some technology. But, in our opinion, you need to look at all of it holistically, right? So, and it's our charter to help SMEs really consider all of that in making, investment decisions. So, lastly here, speaking from a U.S. perspective, the conduit is open for an evaluation of new trading partners, as I said before, and I'll speak about that in a moment again. We really, as in India, the supply chain risks are real here. This is still the world's largest economy. And, the economy is going strong, but at the same time, 6 to 8 month delays for common household goods is not acceptable to the U.S. consumer, right? So it's not acceptable to a U.S. SME, right? So U.S. SMEs are looking, well, where can I partner? Where can I reevaluate where I'm getting my goods from, right? At the same time, any kind of SME that is looking to expand into our marketplace, now is the time. The opportunity is there. Anyone who wants to enrich our economy, the doors are open, not closed. So I personally think now is the time, if you are aggressive to grow your company, there are plenty of other people that are, to use a phrase my dad used to say, lying low in the canoe, if that translates, that are lying down, that are going to be passed. And it's our charter as your business council here in the U.S. to help guide and help partner and come alongside and give you that those resources and those connections and those alliances. So what are some of those roles? Well, really, to put very simply, is to support SMEs looking for expansion of businesses, partnerships, joint ventures into U.S. So great to hear that the ministry is going to have those tools. We will help facilitate those tools through the chamber as well. Likewise, we're going to support from this side SMEs looking for expansion of businesses, partnerships, and joint ventures into India. There is a long list that resides within the chamber of SMEs by industry sectors, and for the purposes of this call, there's contract, there's many different categories within manufacturing, as we all know, that can be cross-mapped, between U.S. and India for introductions and alliances, joint ventures, technology transfer. As I mentioned, I have a long history in technology. But then also, what's going to take a specific effort here from our Florida offices, but throughout the country, New York, D.C., the Midwest, etc., West Coast, is to really promote India SMEs to private and public stakeholders. You may not be aware, but basically every United state and every major community has an economic development office that is always looking for new entrants to their community. And there's incentives to be there. Any kind of economic stimulation, and we want to be a face to every one of those. And we want to be a loud voice and a friendly face. And we will represent Indian SMEs to those places. If these are your goals to expand or open a subsidiary in the United States, we know these areas that are going to be the most aggressive and luring new investment dollars, and I'll share some of those in a moment. And then we obviously are going to consult hand in hand here on all of the options to open those subsidiaries. You need to be lawful, right? You need to understand the tax ramifications, just as likewise, if a U.S. subsidiary wants to come to India, when you're going to need to consult them on entrance into the Indian market, right? And the tax ramifications of such. So again, just think of it as a bridge going both ways, that through our experience of enacting effective cross-border technology, manufacturing, distribution strategies, we can come alongside you with. So it's exciting. This is what we get up and love to do. We love to create new business. We love to create new opportunities. We love to see new partnerships get off the ground and go. And so that's what is exciting to us. And then, since my new PowerPoint presentation is so bland, as you can see, I haven't gotten the official backdrop. I'm going to leave you all with a few pictures to hopefully get you even more excited about the opportunity, right? So what are the immediate opportunities for leadership and execution? Well, what is that a picture of? Well, it's a ton of auto parts. You might not realize, but the used car market in the United States is even more impossible right now than the new car. It's easier to buy a new car in the United States than it is to buy a used car. Why is that? Because auto parts are almost impossible to come by. Well, I personally know that the automotive industry in India, and automotive manufacturing industry, which includes spare parts, is very strong, right? And I know it's very strong in Pune. So, there's immediate opportunity there. Where there is demand and challenges, there is opportunity. Right now, our construction industry is roaring, absolutely roaring. I can look out my window here in Florida and see 50 cranes, and they're not half finished. These are projects that are soaring, right? We can't get building supplies, right? We can't get anything to finish these projects, even though they're fully funded, right? So the economy is very strong. I mean, these might sound obvious. Now, let me give you one that's not so obvious. Oh, my picture didn't really work here. Sporting goods. I personally had a conversation with a 1,500 unit sporting good chain last week. All of their large sporting good suppliers are made where? In China. 6 to 8 month delays in equipment. Prices have gone up 3 times. They said, if you can bring us somebody that can make sporting goods, football helmets, balls, bats, gloves, we'll be open. Just bring them to us, right? And I imagine any conversation that comes to do with reduction of lead time, reduction of price, increase in quality, those conversations are ready and willing to be had. That's where we are in the United States right now. The American consumer and the American SME is tired of bad quality, higher prices, longer lead times. That's where we are. And then lastly, I'll say this. Perhaps the traditional mindset of where manufacturing has been done in the United States is Midwest, Chicago, Wisconsin, Pittsburgh, kind of what was called the Rust Belt, or the Northeast, perhaps, New York, New Jersey, those kind of places. You see these red states here. These states are actually, thanks to COVID, the more open, the more friendly to businesses, have not been locked down. Also over the last 20 years have enticed a lot more business, lower taxes, less regulations on business. Just like what the Deputy Secretary said, we're gonna cut these things out of the way here. We're gonna let you two move freely across states. We're gonna cut your freight. I mean, again, if you run a business and the government is going to help you run your business, that's where you go. And the southern states have been doing that in quite a lot of ways. So the conventional wisdom of, you need to be up where it's, there's a lot of manufacturing plants has changed. A lot of the auto manufacturing plants have all moved to the south, and everything else is following suit. So we're going to start our focus here where the economic development authorities are hungry for more manufacturing sites, better incentives, great pools of labor, at lower wages, less taxes. Those are all great things. So just hopefully a little food for thought here in my brief time with you all today. And again, I want to give you a message of hope that we're excited to do business with India here. And I'm excited to do business with each of you. So how do we launch this and get it into process? Please bring forward your requests, your requirements, your opportunities to the Secretariat email. Route that, and we'll start having conversations and getting to know each other straight away. And as Chandrakant knows, I'm in India quite often, and I look forward to seeing you very soon.
Thank you, Mr. LeBas, for a very wonderful information. Rather, this is a right time. We have started discussion about how we can support the Indian SMEs to enter in US market. Similarly, our Prime Minister will also start his discussion in short while, macro level. So this is a good, coincidence that we should, tap this opportunity and support the Indian SME. Friends, we have provided through the SME Chamber of India this platform. We brought together the government officer from the Ministry of MSME. We brought the largest company in the world, Amazon, here to present the technology. We are presenting the Mihir Shah, who is advisor to our chamber for particularly export-import business, and mostly how we can build a bridge between India and US. Mr. LeBas has presented his thoughts, but the SMEs struggle where funding. The bigger issue is finance. Bigger issues are trade finance. So without bank, SME will not grow, and without India, without SME, India will not grow, and without SME, India will not achieve the 400 billion US dollars exports. Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Commerce Minister of India, and also Minister of MSME has given the challenging target to Indian industries and MSMEs that we have to reach 400 billion US dollars exports in coming years. So this is the right time to bring Mr. Sivakumar from the Exim Bank of India.
It's very nice to meet you again. In fact, I had participated in your events couple of times. It's nice to reconnect and meet your members. I'll first try to share my screen. Chandrakant, members of SME Chamber, other participants today. A very good afternoon and good evening to everyone. I'll be making a presentation on empowering SME sector to achieve target export and GDP growth, like what Mr. Chandrakant mentioned, $400 billion, and what is the role and initiative of India Exim Bank. And I think we are running pretty late, so I'll make my presentation very brief so that we can have some time for discussions. Some stats which I think everyone would know. SME contributes more than 49% of India's exports. SMEs are dominant players in some of India's major export sectors, namely textiles and garments, leather products, sports goods, gems and jewelry, handicrafts, among others. It may be noted that there are some commodities which are solely exported from small-scale industries, sectors like sports goods, cashew, etc., which is 100% share. A set of identified India's non-oil products contributes to 57% of total imports, opens huge prospect for SMEs to reduce this gap. Now, we have seen what is the potential, but what are the challenges? I think Mr. Chandrakant touched about a critical point. But is finance the only challenge for SMEs? There are some more challenges. Already SMEs have been especially hard hit by the global COVID-19 crisis. These firms are more vulnerable now for many reasons. Not only has the traditional challenge of accessing finance continued to apply, but new, particularly supply side difficulties are currently apparent. What are some of the challenges? They are less diversified in their economic activities, weaker financial structure. When we say weaker financial structure, we talk about the lower capitalization, lower or no credit rating. Somehow they don't feel the need for credit rating, but there are agencies which give SME ratings as a special product. Heavily dependent on credit because of the shortage of the capitalization, fewer financing options, but new options have come, especially in terms of fintech. Credit crunch influences the business decisions of SMEs, impacts investment, job creation, and economic growth of the country. Once again, there's some challenge. Are you able to see? Sorry. Yeah, in terms of what we can do in terms of achieving this potential, enabling SMEs, e-commerce to go beyond borders. I think, in fact, we had one of the speakers from Amazon Web Services. In fact, I think the e-commerce could be used by SMEs. By adopting e-commerce, SMEs stand to gain significant advantages such as increased revenues and margins, improved market reach. But while doing those, they should be very careful in terms of knowing the rules and regulations, phytosanitary issues required to export to markets abroad should be disseminated well. Improvise the production cycle. Now I'll touch upon what is India Exim Bank. As many of you know, India Exim Bank is set up by an Act of Parliament in 1981 by the Government of India. We are wholly owned by Government of India. We play a pivotal role in policy formulation and also export project selection for the projects under economic diplomacy. The same investment rating, international investment rating at par with a sovereign. We have policy business which is guaranteed as well as which is insured by the sovereign. We have a strong regulatory capital position, and Exim Bank has access to multiple sources of funds, both onshore and offshore. In terms of programs, it can be broadly categorized into export finance and export capability creation. Under export finance, Exim Bank offers lines of credit, construction financing scheme, buyer's credit under national exportations account, project exports, and non-fund based programs for all these programs. Under export capability creation, Exim Bank offers term loans, working capital, export product development, export facilitation, overseas investment finance, import finance, and Ubrate Sitare, which I think I'll spend some time. In fact, some of the products like export product development, export facilitation, OIF, and Ubrate Sitare, I would say Exim Bank's niche programs. And in fact, Ubrate Sitare is sort of a flagship program, which was recently introduced and attracting a lot of traction. Now let us look at some specific example of how Exim Bank has helped some of SMEs, which has been more relevant for this gathering. In terms of some SMEs, I'll give some specific examples. In fact, we have supported a company in Goregaon, Mumbai. It's called High Performance Product India Limited. We have helped them to set up a confectionery line in Kenya through our lines of credit. In terms of another company called New Age Firefighting Company Limited in Surendra, Gujarat, we have helped them to supply 13 trailer-mounted flood pumps in Mauritius under Exim Bank's lines of credit. In terms of overseas investment, we have helped a company in Aurangabad called Sajiv Auto Parts to set up acquire a company in Spain. We have also helped a small company, but actually a technology company in dairy, to do a good investment in terms of in Kenya. Now, just want to touch upon a program which Honorable Finance Minister had announced. It's called Ubrate Sitare program in Finance Bill 2020. In fact, we are happy to just quote what Honorable Finance Minister said. It was said in the budget like many mid-sized companies are successfully domestically, but not in the export markets, which I think you all will agree. For selected sectors such as pharmaceuticals, auto components, and others, this is Government of India proposed to extend handholding support for technology upgradations, R&D, business strategy, planning, etc. A scheme of 1,000 crore will be anchored in the Exim Bank together with the SIDBI, which is the program which we're going to talk about. This was announced in FY 2020. If you look at genesis of Ubrate Sitare program, Exim Bank, which I mentioned, which was set up by an Act of Parliament in 1982. In the early 80s till about 1990s, India Exim Bank partnered with multiple institutions, including World Bank, towards Export Marketing Fund, along with World Bank. During those days, we have supported some companies like Biocon, Infosys, and Dabur. In fact, these companies will appear to be huge companies, honestly, which may not require Exim Bank funding, for that matter, or any bank's funding. But when we funded, these companies were small, relatively small, which took Exim Bank support, and they have grown much, much larger. During this period, post 1990s, in 2019, India Exim Bank proposed to set up in India small business with latent potential to grow. In January 2020, we submitted the proposal to the Government of India. February 1, which I mentioned, the Honorable Finance Minister announced the initiative in the Union Budget. In February 2020, India Exim Bank and SIDBI boards approved the Ubrate Sitare program. And since then, we have had a lot of traction. We have sanctioned a few proposals. Many proposals are in the pipeline. Now, what is the program objective? The program objective is to cutting across, create international champions India, foster global competitive business. And if you look at what we do in this, we identify nurture companies having differentiated technology or products or process. We assist these firms with export potential which are unable to scale up for want of finance. We also mitigate the challenges faced by them to increase their exports. Support existing exporters to widen their basket of products and markets, help them to implement a strategic export marketing plan by providing finance and extensive handholding support. We run across companies with unique value proposition, either it is technology, products, and process. Fundamentally strong companies, good business model, strong management capabilities, focusing on product quality. Small and mid-sized companies with ability to penetrate global markets. In terms of objective, which we touched upon, identify nurture firms with different products, process, technology. In this, we collaborate and engage with multiple institutions. If you look at it, you have academic institutions, we have chambers of commerce, we have export professionals, etc. We hope to work with multiple institutions to increase this message, and so that many companies can get benefited. In terms of collaborations, it's a collaboration between India Exim Bank, SIDBI Venture Capital, commercial banks, financial institutions. So what is the broad structure? Under this program, we offer debt, which competitive rates complementing the equity, which is extended by India Exim Bank, SIDBI, and other banks. We have equity, quasi-equity from India Exim Bank, as well also proposed Ubrate Sitare Fund, which is co-sponsored by India Exim Bank and SIDBI. technical assistance, which is to extend need-based support. We have supported a few companies within this short span. We have supported a company which is a manufacturer of near virgin quality recycled plastic granules for consumer product packaging. It converts the collected plastic waste into better plastic recycled granules that consumer brands can use in their mainstream products and packaging. The second company is one of the largest manufacturer of unmanned aerial vehicles, which is having 90% market share in India. It is a licensed manufacturer of UAVs and approved by Ministry of Defense. We helped them in one of the contract. The third company promotes sustainable agriculture and storage solutions through using solar energy based products that are energy efficient and cost effective. The key product offerings of this company are EcoStrong, EcoFrost, and EcoConnect. The last company is engaged in R&D and production of wide range of polar lipids. This is one of the key ingredients for RNA, which is actually used for mRNA-based vaccines, including COVID vaccines. Besides our traditional products, we also are into supporting microfinance through our grassroots initiatives and development. On the left-hand side, you see banks supported a series of 14 training programs for the over 250 farmers in Nashik to help them in terms of upgrading their products. In next one, you see the bank supporting an online design development training program for 20 women tribal weavers in Bhubaneswar. The next one, you see Exim Bank supporting Looms of Ladakh Women's Cooperative. Again, it was in textile sector. On the extreme right, you see the bank supporting a training program, which is basically in product and design development for an association called Urmul Maharishi Bunkas Vikas Samiti in Rajasthan. Exim Bank also has a portal called Exim Mitra, which is to initially provide help upcoming SMEs to have an access to information under one platform. Besides this, Exim Bank has supported a few SME companies which we wanted to share. The first one is Mac Control Systems. It's in Tamil Nadu. We supported this company through a non-fund based facility for supply of military portable shelter to Israel Aerospace Limited. We supported a hospital in Northeast for import of some of critical medical equipments for their hospital for their expansion project. We also supported some of the plywood companies. This particular company we have supported for setting up a facility in Myanmar. We've also supported service sector. In this company, we exported a BPO, which to set up plants across, including markets in developed markets like US and Canada. We have also supported some associations. This is one example where bank supported this Nauka Balasore infrastructure company under EFP program. Exim Bank has also supported on the left-hand side Aerospace Processing India Private Limited in Belgaum under Exim Bank's UOU program. On the right-hand side, we have helped a company called Snam Abrasives for their investment in Vietnam. So this is a very brief presentation. For want of time, I'll be more happy to take questions. Thank you.
Presentation. Rather, this is the right time to support Indian companies because most of the Indian companies are looking to expand their business in the world market. And during this pandemic, we observed that most of the companies are not utilizing their capacity, the manufacturing capacity. Ateesh Kumar ji, I have a suggestion to make to ministry. Rather, you can discuss with the Secretary Saab that there are 6.33 MSMEs in India. In that, I think more than 4 crore are a manufacturing industry. Okay, in that 4 crore manufacturing industry, if we can understand or if we can obtain the information of the companies, those are manufacturing industry, how much strength they have for manufacturing, how much capacity they are using currently, and what kind of value addition businesses they want to they are looking for, particularly for contract manufacturing, particularly for joint venture, where they can get for a more technology, where they can expand their business. Because we have a setup now, even since I'm interacting with the bankers last 1 week, I observed that plenty of rupees lying with the bankers. And because of that, SME sector is not reaching with the proper guidance, proper proposal, viable proposal. So therefore, I suggest if we look at the, or we can take a review of the Indian SMEs, that those are, using their technology, using their manufacturing capacity, or not. So then we can plan some good ideas. So like Mr. Joseph is here, we can identify some companies from USA where they are looking to set up business in India. For example, Japanese companies coming with the automotive industry. Why not? We can encourage for the some food processing industry, some value addition industry where our Indian SME can also get them some businesses together. So this is my suggestion. You can explore this one to the ministry. Rather, I'm going to write to Shwen Saab and the Minister of MSME so that we can make a plan. And currently, I observe that Minister of Commerce and Industry, DPIIT, they are also, gathering information about the large corporate. The large corporate, those are having the abundant capacity, but are they using this capacity for manufacturing or not? Then that is also one point. Similarly, what we can do, we are now looking for SMEs. Those are not entered in export business. Where Sivakumar ji, under the new chairman, what we can make a planning that how this platform can be utilized, because we have a cooperation with your bank. We have not seen our logo in your presentation, but we have signed a memorandum of agreement with Mr. Raghunathan was there. So Exim Bank, Ministry of MSME, India, US SM Business Council, SME Chamber of India, Amazon, so that we can develop connectivity, we can utilize the contact and you can utilize our resources for improving the capacity of the manufacturing industry and also identifying the export business. So before I invite Mr. Mihir Shah, Mr. Gandhi, are you ready with the video or we? Yes.
Every day, every minute, your world business arena is expanding. At Kotak, we believe in partnerships that help you boost your business. Here's presenting Kotak Global Trade Account, a current account that is designed to handle international business transactions with ease. Offering exclusive service hubs to handle your everyday trade transactions. Ensure quick and hassle-free trade services, coupled with transparent and competitive service charges. All you need to do is open the Global Trade Account. The account offers services that go well beyond remittance and FX solutions, such as FX and trade advisory solutions, aided with a strong setup, liaison with the regulator and a team of advisor. Get a complimentary Kotak Forex card. Book Forex rates at FX Live that offers convenience and is transparent too. Expertise in handling capital account transactions. Stay updated with alerts on inward remittance. Avail working capital solutions. Facilitate transactions in all major currencies. We also offer e-banking platforms, e-advice and e-SWIFT facility that can help track your transactions effectively. Backed by a strong trade finance setup. Join hands with our Global Trade Account and make your presence felt in the international markets. To start your business excellence journey, SMS GTA to 56767888 or visit your nearest Kotak Mahindra Bank branch or simply visit www.kotak.com today.
After all discussion, now we need some good advisor. When we plan to in particular market, so we need a very good guidance. Without guidance, you can't swim in a world market. So I invite Mr. Mihir Shah to share his thoughts.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining on this session. It was wonderful to hear various stalwarts and details talked about in this session. Friends, just to share quick bites on, as we were discussing and deliberating on how SMEs can move further and grow their potential, get to that 400 billion mark which has been set across for the exports of the country. It is very important to understand where SMEs sometimes do not consider or do not reach their potential, is they do not optimally use the incentives and the benefits which are available. Maybe it is more because ideally they are not well aware of, or they assume there are a lot of challenges and process and procedures. I will quickly run through a small presentation as I speak, so that we can understand various options on that. Just give me a quick second. And I think the presentation should be up. So it would give you, as an MSME, an idea and context to what is available to you as a exporter, and how you can optimally utilize the various incentives which are as of today available in the international business, or the businesses where you are going to go is exports. If we consider the incentives which are available, well, you will be surprised that it's not just one, two, but a wide buffet of incentives which is available to an exporter. And I was just taking a session separately on a different platform or a different training program, and we were discussing exactly the same thing and trying to explain in detail that it is not just one, but at times you can combine multiple of your incentives. So a single $100 exports could fetch you about 3 or 4 or 5 of your incentives, which totaled up at many times could be even beneficial than your actual profit margins. So if you optimally utilize it, and they are not necessary incentives in form of some benefits, they are actually reimbursement of taxes, they are actually benefits which you actually have to get, because principally exports of goods should happen and not taxes, which means these are ideally the ones which have to actually come back to you so that you can be more competitive, you can grow. And just like our friend from the US, when we were referring to the India-US partnership, this would enhance. When he's talking about, demand of automobile parts and sports goods, I cannot be talking to him and saying, you know what, I have a product which is $100, but in that $20 is the cost of the taxes which I have to pay. He'll say, come on, yeah, I mean, go away. So if I can optimally give him, I'm sure his smile will increase if I can give him a price of $80, and I know that I'm going to be comfortable because I've already taken down all the taxes and I'm comfortable, competitive enough to sell it to his market in US. So we have an option, and I'm just going to run through each one of them just to give you a gist of it. I'm not going into the details and giving you the process of it, but a gist of how actually it works. So talking about the first incentive which is available, it's called the EPCG, or Export Promotion Capital Goods Scheme. The scheme is intended for you to bring in capital goods, machineries. Now, one of the key elements, as when we look at growing and increasing our exports, is that we should also look at quality manufacturing. And for increasing quality manufacturing, our colleague from the bank would obviously provide you some good bank loans or support you with finance, but it is also very important that you get the right product. And for that, you might also require the good machines and a little cash flow, which can help you survive after investing a large amount in these capital goods. Understanding that the need of getting high-class import machines or imported machineries is required not only for domestic, but also for getting a better output in the export market. There's a scheme called EPCG, which allows you a duty-free, which means the importer who imports this capital goods has to pay 0% duty at the time of importing this machinery. So A, I have a reasonable cash flow. B, I don't have to take large fundings, because if you actually look at the duty structure, the total duty structure roughly comes to about 27% plus minus. So the 30% roughly on the imported machine is saved immediately. You don't pay that cost. And what you have to do in turn, the government expects you to export goods manufactured from that machine worth 6 times of the duty saved. For my Indian friends, they'll understand this, that we typically have always understood that it is 3 guna lagan. Here it is 6 guna lagan. So it's 6 times. 6 times of the duty saved is what you want to export. And it's not in 1, 2, or 3, but it is equally, it has to be done in 6 years. So you have a time of 6 years. It is not that I import a machine today and I'm going to export it tomorrow and I have to complete the target and I'm running on a treadmill. No, certainly not. But I do have a target. I do have to export worth 6 times of the duty saved in a period of 6 years. And that's it. I don't have to bother about my taxes. I don't have to bother about my duties, which I've got already exempted. The benefit has already come to me beforehand at the time of importation. So I can bring in capital goods, I can bring in machineries without payment of any duties, saving roughly about 30% on my import, on the cash flow in form of duties and taxes. The only catch which I have to remember is this: exports have to be incremental exports, meaning if I'm doing an exports, existing exports, this will be an additional exports which I'll have to do, which means I have to do more of exports. And obviously, if I am able to do more of exports, I'm going to be successful in getting this exemption of the duties and taxes. At times, people fear that what would happen if I don't pay, if I don't complete my exports? What would happen? The banks would get a request from the customs to invoke the bank guarantee. What would happen? Well, obviously, yes, you have to pay duties and interest on that in case if you don't complete it. But then understanding that the need can also happen, that you are not very confident or you are in a situation where you want to initially focus on the domestic market, and then but at the same time the product is such that it can fetch good international demand. We have an option in the same scheme wherein you can opt for a post-export EPCG. So instead of taking the exemption up front, you only make an application, get yourself a license, but still pay the duties and taxes upfront. But after you've completed of payment of duties and taxes, by any reason, if you're able to export the required quantity, which is reduced to 85%, then you can go back to the department after you have completed your obligation and get a refund, or in form of a duty credit script, a refund of the duties which you've already paid. A, you upfront take an exemption, or B, complete your payment of duties, and then if you are able to export, go back to the department and get your exemption or get a refund on the duties which you've already paid. So both options are available for a heavy equipment like the machineries, which requires you a good amount of cash flow. So the first incentive available is called the EPCG. The next, moving further, is a scheme that obviously, if I'm going to bring in machineries, I need raw material to manufacture. How am I going to do that? I cannot just keep in the machine and just look at it. It will not produce eggs out of it or hatch products automatically. It will require raw material. And exactly the same method or the same concept, I can get the raw material which is physically used. The raw material which I actually use in the production, I can get it duty-free along with the wastage and import that raw material duty-free to manufacture and export of goods. So again, the benefit available is I can bring in the raw material duty-free. Some checks and measures are obviously put. Firstly, you get the benefit is the complete duty waiver. No duties or taxes are charged in terms of customs duty, anti-dumping duty, even the GST, any safeguard duty. All sorts of forms of duties are exempted or are not charged to you at the time of importation of these raw material. The checks and measures are, I would say it's a twofold method. Number one, there's a control on the value of import, how much you can import, what value. The value is the difference between your import and export should be 15%. We call it value addition. And I'm sure all my manufacturing friends would understand that yes, that much value addition is bare minimum. There's a restriction in quantity as well. You cannot get anything and everything. The quantity is restricted based on certain parameters of what you actually use. And obviously it has been worked out, or a recipe has been worked out in form of standard input-output norms. In short, you as a manufacturer are eligible for bringing in raw material, utilizing that raw material, manufacturing the product and exporting it back. It could also be interesting to note that there are times where you can work out where you bring in raw material from the same country where you're going to export it further, manufacture it, and export the finished goods. So interestingly, you are importing the raw material from the buyer's country, so he's assured of the quality. You are not paying any duties and taxes under advance authorization, so it doesn't matter whether the raw material is at a what cost. There's no taxes or duties going to be paid, and you add your conversion charge, add your profit, add your all other expenses, and then raise a final export invoice for your buyer. And this would be a workable or a win-win situation for gaining an edge in terms of the quality products which you want to sell. There is one caveat or one condition on this, is you have to be a manufacturer, or it has what is called as an actual user condition. That has also been taken care of by a variation in the scheme called as DFIA, duty-free import authorization. So unlike if you are not a manufacturer, you are a trader, you are a merchant exporter, you can go for a duty-free import authorization, which allows you, unlike advance authorization, allows you only the custom duty waiver. So the BCD has been exempted. And the difference between advance authorization and DFIA is just enumerated here, is that A, you need a 20% value addition, so 5% addition than the advance authorization. It is only eligible for a standard set of products which are already defined under SION. It is only after you have completed your exports you can get the benefit, so we call it as a post-shipment benefit. But the advantage which you have is added advantage which you have on the DFIA is, unlike advance authorization where you have to be an actual user of the raw material, in case of DFIA, you can be a trader, you can freely transfer the raw material or even transfer the script or the benefit which is accrued to you. Now let me give you a good news. I do an export worth $100 by using the raw material imported under advance authorization, so I don't pay duties on it. And I also probably have the machine which I have imported under EPCG. Friends, one export of $100 will be counted for both of my benefits. So $100, two benefits I can claim. My $100 worth of exports will be counted for my advance authorization, and my $100 will also be counted for my EPCG benefit calculation. So I have completed obligation in both the schemes with just $100 of exports. Why so? Because both of them happen to be on a different platform. This is for raw material, that is for capital goods. Obviously, there are some checks and measures which are left on in the scheme, and which means that you have to have some procedural challenges, or maybe in many cases, you might not directly import the raw material. But I'm aware that the material which I'm buying locally is also having imported, or is raw material being imported and has some duty component in it. Well, friends, to that, we have an option of the scheme called as duty drawback. As the word suggests, it's a drawback of duty, which means refund. Duties paid at any import raw material level used in manufacturing of the export product is refunded to you, excluding the GST, because GST is separately given to you as refund, which means the customs duty is refunded to you in form of duty drawback. So option number one, you do not pay the duties in form of advance authorization, or option number two, you claim duty drawback after you pay duties and taxes. Friends, this means you have an either or option in terms of advance authorization and drawback. But I can still claim drawback and EPCG, both the benefits on the single export. Let's move further and talk about a new scheme which has been done. So drawback, these are the rates typically as an example. And the rates are on your export FOB value. So we don't need to worry about that. And the good news is this amount gets credited to your bank account from the customs directly. And you don't need to have a separate application for these at all. A very recent scheme announced called the RODTEP, the Remissions of Duties and Taxes on the Exported Product. This is a scheme which was typically announced so that there are some, in spite of all best efforts, there are some incentives, some duties, some duties and taxes, which are yet not remitted or refunded to you. So Sivakumar sir, there are a very conceptually simple aspect that if a manufacturer or an exporter or anybody like you and me obviously use electricity, and in spite of all our efforts in terms of nullifying the cost and the duties and taxes, we are still not able to nullify or refund the duty on the electricity. We all know that when you pay your electricity bills, and think about it from a manufacturing perspective, what kind of values of invoicing comes in electricity. On that, there is a duty of electricity or electricity duty which has been charged. Consider another example that when I bring in raw material, I bring in my accessories, and I export my finished goods, I use vehicles, transportation. And transportation requires fuel, petrol, diesel. This petrol and diesel are not under GST, hence they are charged with excise and VAT. Now these taxes are not convertible. It doesn't give a credit to you, which means the transporter, when charges to you, let's say 100 rupees per kilometer, is actually calculating 95 rupees plus 5 rupees tax. Indirectly, you are paying the tax, which means my friend in US, Mr. Joy, is going to pay my taxes, and he's not ready to do that because principally goods should be exported, not taxes. Which means that somewhere I have to get it refunded. And that's exactly why RODTEP has been announced. RODTEP was announced on 31st of January, effective of 1st of January. 31st of December, it was announced by a press release. And on 1st of January 2021 onwards, we have a RODTEP scheme in force. The rates were not announced. It was the committee who was working hard on it. And let me tell you that it has been specifically identified at the HSN level, and 8,855 HSN codes have been identified for this scheme, and they have been notified. Yes, 8,000 plus, to be precise, 8,855. The benefits will be in form of digital scripts, which you can use it for the customs duty payment, or you can again transfer it. So same like the DFIA thing, but it is independent. Here there is no product linkage. In DFIA there was a raw material linkage. Here there is no raw material. It's a value script, a value of a percentage. So the rates which have been just announced on 17th of August will provide that benefit to you. We should not forget service sector, which is playing equal role in the growth of exports. In fact, as I was joining on this session, I got a lot of messages and I was just looking at what happened. And I suddenly realized that government has notified the SEIS scheme for the financial year 1920, which was on pause. So that notification has just been announced today, I think not even an hour ago. So that has already been announced. This is for the service sector. Many of exporters are regular exporters, and it is always better that you get recognized by the relevant authority so that it builds up trust and confidence to your foreign buyer. Status holder certificate scheme is exactly the same, where the government of the country, government of India, recognizes you as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, depending upon the turnover of exports, which makes it to at least my friends in the international business, the importers out there, to know that I'm not a fly-by-night operator. They can trust me. They can be confident on me. And not only that, you probably then go to my banker friends and probably negotiate a little better on some charges. And Sivakumar ji will be happy to do it because he also has confidence in you that, yes, there is an exporter who has a credentials of a long-standing record. The performance is very simple, calculated on 3 years basis plus the current year. So once you are able to achieve a particular target, $3 million is for the first 1 star. In fact, an MSME, which is looking at getting a 1 star recognition, is eligible for by $3 million, roughly comes to 22 crores Indian rupees. Roughly, why I'm saying roughly, because it was in fact a very nice initiative done in one of the amendment in the policies, friends, that earlier it was, calculated in rupee terms. And Mr. Joy, you will be surprised. What used to happen is there were a lot of exporters who would do a lot of exports, but unfortunately, in terms of INR value, it would not match because of the conversion rate. Because of the conversion, it was purely, so I do less exports, but because at the time probably the rate of the exchange rate was higher, so my rupee value looks very high. And similarly, somebody, so that was done away with. It says, forget about it. We are all looking for bringing foreign exchange to the country. 3 million is 3 million in whatever exchange rate it comes in. So it was converted that the entire eligibility was done in dollar terms, which is a very good exercise. So whether it is 22 crores, 25 crores or 40 crores, doesn't matter. $3 million, you bring it into country in cumulatively. It's not 1 year, by the way. It's current year plus previous 3 years. So effectively 4 years in total. If you bring in $3 million, you are a 1-star export house, and subsequently the panel goes. In fact, for an MSME, there is a double weightage, which means $1 is going to be considered as $2. Effectively means I can become a 1-star recognized export house with $1.5 million of exports in a period of current year plus previous 3 years. So roughly about 10-12 crore Indian rupees. Agro exports is one of the key element in India, and to promote and facilitate agro exports, and they're assisting them in terms of the freight, is a scheme called TMA. There are list of markets, list of products which are available, and a specific amount which is being guaranteed or provided under TMA. The scheme was to end on 31st of March 2020. It has been extended for 1 year until 31st of March 2021. And in fact, the buzz is that the government has already decided that they will further extend it, and not only extend this TMA scheme, but increase the allowance in case of, I think, in terms of the sea freight component as at a 50%, and then air at a 100% increment in terms of the benefit. The notifications are yet to be coming in, but TMA is another incentive which agro exporters should be looking at. And mind you, friends, TMA status holders, this is all additional. ROTTAP is all additional to your EPCG and drawback. So it's not just one. I can be an exporter of agro commodity, claiming duty drawback, having a machinery imported under EPCG, claiming TMA, claiming ROTTAP, and also qualifying for a status holder certificate. All of it, that is all 5 in one single export. One of the most common refunds or the processes of GST, which will obviously be there for everyone, is the GST for exporters. Please note, export is not exempted. It is a 0 rated supply. It's a technically 0 rated, which means you will either use the LUT, a letter of undertaking option, to not charge GST. And if you have input credit which gets accumulated, apply for refund, or you can pay the GST and claim the IGST which you have charged on that. So you have two options as we've just discussed. The compulsory option is if you are wanting not to charge, you will have to have an LUT, which means an online application. Instantly you will get the number, and if you want to make an application of refund, you can do so online. Finally, you have a paid IGST option, where the beautiful part is, and I'm sure exporters will understand this in the process kind of it, that there is no refund application at all. You make your normal export documents, you file your shipments, your shipping bill becomes your application, you file your GST returns, which is GSTR 1 and 3B, and automatically they will be processed, and or refunds will flow in automatically to your bank account. Right? So that's the kind of advantage you have in terms of GST. And mind you, this is also available on every exports. Every single export you can get this refunds. Lastly, but not the least, I'm sure Sivakumar ji and the banking team will be providing these facilities to everyone who are eligible, which is interest equalization. Friends, a lot of time exporters tell, sir, incentives will come when we actually export, we will complete export. What about the time when we want to manufacture, we want funds, we want to process, we need some credit, we need some funding. Well, friends, you can apply for what is called as the pre-shipment or post-shipment export credit in the rupee terms. And the facility which is available under the interest equalization scheme is that 5% if you are an MSME manufacturer. And Salunkhe sir, this is specially for an MSME manufacturer, 5%. And if you are a large manufacturer or a MSME or a merchant exporter, 3% of specific list of items. MSME manufacturer, all items at 5% interest equalization, which means that if your bank is going to quote you, let's say 10% as the interest rate, you end up paying only 5%. And trust me, it's a win-win for even bank, because bank is going to be paid by the RBI. So it's not that they are going to be discounting, or it's not that they are going to lose money. It is a benefit for both. You will get funding, you will get an rupee export credit, either pre-shipment or post-shipment, at a much reasonable rate. Currently, the benefit has been extended to 30th of September. We are hopeful that it will get further extended. And I'm sure Salunkhe sir can take it up with the MSME ministry as well to get it further extended, or if required, look at the tariff lines or items which are not included. Finally, friends, for exporters who are already exporting on a regular basis, a lot of dues, pending dues were there, which were not cleared. Very recently, the government has announced that all old incentives, benefits which were pending, roughly in tune of about 56 crores, is going to be released and done and dusted. In fact, the procedural notifications have that you have to start applying and close the entire application process by December. I am hopeful that maybe the disbursement and everything taken together by this financial year end, all your pending processing, all your pending incentives will be cleared, and you will have a big fund flow from your all pending matters. In nutshell, if you combine all these incentives, whether it is the RODTEP, whether it is the EPCG, whether it is your interest equalization, whether it is your GST refunds, friends, if you are able to optimally use all your incentives, I might not want to put a figure or a percentage, but trust me, at most of the times, it is even sometimes equal to or equal to your profit margins of, let's say, roughly about 5, 7, 10%. So look at that and consider your incentives. Salunkhe sir, thank you so much for inviting me, and I hope I've added some information. If there's some questions and queries, I'll be happy to take. The presentation is available for people to refer on the link, and I'll share it with Sakshi and the team as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Rather, this is a very interesting presentation by you and useful presentation. The Honorable Prime Minister has given challenging task to us that we have to reach $2 trillion exports in coming years, like completing by 2030. So this is the right time to play a very important role by the Minister of MSME, Minister of Commerce and Industry, Exim Bank, and of course, Joseph LeBas. You have a strong and very challenging task for developing contact between India and US. So Honorable Prime Minister is doing, but we have to focus our also efforts that where we can connect with the SMEs for exploring the new business opportunity. Friends, there are plenty of questions are there, but what we'll do because of the time constraint, I can't now take more questions. But nevertheless, Minister of MSME Ateesh Kumar ji, Mr. Shwen, our Secretary Sahab, Minister of MSME Mr. Rane, all are putting efforts to empower Indian SME sector. Now the thing is that most of the MSMEs are not aware about particularly the schemes, incentives, and the advantages, benefits made available by the ministry, by our chamber, by the Commerce Ministry, by the Exim Bank. So therefore, the SME Chamber of India is playing very important role, bringing the all stakeholders together, imparting knowledge of the MSME sector, and most importantly, the Reserve Bank of India RBI governor they said earlier that only 47 lakh MSMEs are enjoying banking facility. So where 6.13 crore MSMEs are enjoying the funding facility. So this is a very interesting thought process, and I think this is the right time to encourage SMEs, encourage manufacturing industries, encourage exporters, and encourage non-exporters, but they have a strong network in our capacity and manufacturing industry. So let us take advantage of today's webinar, the thought process, the suggestions given by Sri Ateesh Kumar ji, where he had suggested so many initiatives of the ministry. So all MSMEs should visit their website, understand that. If you can't understand, approach us, we can support you. Rather, Sivakumar ji, we can play a very important role. I think you can speak to a chairman, and what we can do, we can set up one machinery. We can set up one system that we can support, we can guide our Indian MSMEs for import of the capital goods, acquiring the companies out of the country, suggesting for the mergers in India, particularly those companies are looking for acquiring, struggling, growing, and difficult as companies, but they have a very good setup. So this is the right time to create a vacuum and right time to create an opportunity for SMEs. Anyone is having question to the participant, to the panelist? Joe, do you have any question with our joint secretary from the ministry or the general manager of Exim Bank?
The champions team, yeah, we'll talk more. I wholeheartedly endorse that. The portal would like to play to understand that more. Great efforts, and like I said in my address to the SMEs still on with us, take advantage of those systems, and we will leverage them as well. Great to hear that. To our banking partners and export partners there, we will include that in our quiver of arrows as well. Would like to learn more about that. Thank you for educating me on those solutions as well to do. I will be in touch with both of you to learn more. And thank you all for allowing me to join today.
Yes, Joe, thank you very much. We can certainly get together on that and we can let you know more about that. It's a very exciting area we are working on, and it has got the potential to turn the turn the whole game on the MSME space in India.
I agree.
We'll be very happy to work alongside with you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Rather, this India US SM Business Council, Ateesh Kumar ji, it's my initiative, and we have more than 43,000 companies already shown interest to come on the this bridge. So all are from manufacturing, where Exim Bank can also play a very important role, because most of the companies are looking for new opportunities. In last 1.5 years of pandemic, most of the companies are having the manufacturing capacity, but they are not utilizing the full-fledged capacity. So we can support this one. Ateesh Kumar ji, I'm thankful to you for spending a lot of time today. But we have to explore what we discussed earlier. We want to put a lot of efforts for the technological development point of view. So Sivakumar ji, thank you very much. Joseph, thank you very much. Mihir, special thanks to you, because you all the way, a lot of putting efforts for the encouraging SMEs, educating the SMEs. This is the right platform, and thank you all. Thank you, participants. We will be answering your question by email or someone from my office will definitely come back to you. Those are having particular questions for the support services, or if you are looking any particular opportunities, they can write to director@smechamber.com so that we can give you answer. Thank you very much. Thank you all the participants. LIC, thank you very much. Amazon, thank you, and all my friends from the the Kotak Mahindra Bank also. Thank you very much. All the best.